are listening to the most original talk radio station anywhere. We are LA Talk Radio at latalkradio.com. You're listening to the Mother Love Show, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another great day in Talk Radio. I am your host, Mother Love, coming to you live and in living color Monday through Friday from 2 o'clock until 3:50 Pacific Standard Time. You can go to latalkradio.com, click on the Mother Love Show on Channel 1, and listen to all of the fun, love, laughter, knowledge, and information that you can use and make it applicable in your everyday life. And talking about ladies first and understanding the power of being that lady first. Fascinating, intelligent, realistic, stylish, and tenacious. I have a lady first in studio with me. Her name is, I'm going to get it right, Saniyyah. Saniyyah Mayo. Saniyyah Mayo is an author. She's written a book. It's called Identifying and Breaking the Cycle. Welcome to the program, my dear. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm very well. Thank you for asking. Now, first, let's talk about Saniyyah. Where are you from? And tell me about your life and growing up and all the things about Saniyyah that makes you beautiful.
I'm from Pomona, California. That's where I grew up in the Inland Empire area. I had a baby at 16. Me and my husband had our daughter at 16. So life kind of went fast for me. It basically.
Wait a minute, you had a baby and a husband at 16?
Well, I had a husband a month before my 18th birthday at 17. So everything kind of went fast. It made me grow up quickly. I couldn't hang out and do things that a normal 16-year-old would do. So it just made me look at life through a different lens.
I just want to tell you that 16-year-olds are not normal. I don't even want you to think that. So now here you are. Did you get guidance and instruction while you were growing up? You know, I mean, at 16, I couldn't even imagine my mother would have cut my neck off and peed down my empty head if I came here and talk about I done had sex, and not only that, I'm pregnant. Did you have that? Did you have a foundation?
I had a foundation. My dad was a pastor, always in church, so that was our foundation that he had for us. That he
Shut up, Mother Love, because it's always the pastor's children. They be the fast ones. You get away from my pastor daddy and preaching all that Jesus, I'm gone. Was it out of rebellion because was your father strict?
He was strict, but actually my brother died at 12, and I think I was acting out in all the wrong areas and doing different things.
Older, younger brother?
He was older. He was 16. He died when I was 12, so I think I was just dealing with that. I don't think I finally really dealt with that until I was like 19, because we didn't go to counseling. There was nothing that was there for us.
You know, black people don't go to counseling, which I completely do not understand, because I've been in therapy since I was 14.
Right.
Well, I'm not in therapy. Well, I'm kind of sort of like, but nonetheless. And now, what was he sick? Was he killed?
He actually died in a car accident.
That's even worse, because that's you're not expecting this.
Right.
You send him out and they come back and tell you that you obviously had to be very, very close.
Yeah.
And so this devastated you. And did they explain to you, what was going on, or were you just kind of like treated like a little 12-year-old and not a part of the process? You'll just deal with it.
Right. I think it was a lot for my mom to go through, because a year before that, her mother died, and then losing her son. So I don't think she really knew how to deal with it. And because
she was still coping with her mother dying, and not her baby.
Right.
Your babies don't supposed to die before you.
Right. And so because my parents really didn't know how to deal with it, I don't think they really knew how to deal with us in the situation, which made us just left out there to deal with it on our own in the best possible ways that we knew how, which wasn't really healthy.
I mean, because you're 12. What coping skills do you have at 12 for something as permanent as death? So you acted out.
Right.
So you started hanging out. And what did you start doing?
I was actually just angry. And I had joined a gang. And things like that. And so
wait a minute, I just looked over. What, you joined a gang?
Yeah, I actually did. I fought a lot. I was just angry
just
all the
acting
time.
Out.
Right, and didn't understand why until I had to sit back. And actually, I do not promote teenage pregnancy at all, but my daughter actually made me slow down and to get a better glimpse on life, to want to change for the better for her.
So this is going on. You're 12 years old. So from the time you're 12 till you get pregnant 2 years later, you have the baby. And had you told your parents that you were pregnant?
Actually, I never told them. My mom knew. She could just look at me and tell.
Please, mamas always know.
Right.
They know the day you lose your virginity, you walk in the door with a different kind of look, with a different kind of swag, and be
Right.
But isn't that scary? Because wouldn't you know about your daughter?
Definitely. You can always tell when something's wrong with your kids.
So now you've gone through a lot of turmoil to be at such a young age. Here you are, you're 16 with a baby. You get married at 18. Your brothers died when you're 12. Your grandmother when you're 11. So it's like all of the people. It seems like the people that you love are like being taken away from you, and you don't know what to do with that.
Right.
How bad did it get for you?
It got real bad. In the time where I had my daughter, I was still dealing with my brother's death, and then dealing with, basically I just withdrew from everyone when I had my daughter because during that time my mom was homeless. I had a bad situation at home with my stepmother and my dad's house. So it was just like I was just pushed out there, left alone to just figure it out all by myself. But honestly, I think it was actually a good experience because it made me have that willpower to succeed no matter what for my daughter. So it actually pushed me. It made me who I am today.
Now, were people around you saying, well, who she thinks she is? She's not going anyplace. I don't know. She's just going to be following right into the cycle with everybody else. So why are you trying to look up and try to live better than somebody who you think you are? Because of all the fragmentation in your young life, where did that come from for you to be able to say, it's something inside of me?
I don't know. From the time I was younger, I always knew I wanted more. Growing up in my family, there's times where I would just sit there and say, this is not what I want. And when I had my daughter, it was just like a turning point. Like, I don't want my daughter to grow up in the hood, different things that I've seen with friends and people that were older than me and within my own family. I had to do more and better myself to let my kids have a better future.
Now, how many kids do you have?
I have 3.
You got 3 now?
Yeah.
You don't look crazy. How old are they?
16, 14, and 7.
Yeah, you really don't look crazy. It's a good thing you pretty because you probably go be, teenagers are why some species eat their young.
Yeah.
So getting to that point, and seeing this and not wanting to be a part of the cycle. And I love what you said in the book. You said you just wanted to break the cycle first. And then you said, no, and we need to identify that there is a cycle because a lot of people, your folks, they're my people too. I don't even know why I'm trying to pretend. Will not even acknowledge that there is a cyclical thing going on. It's just, this is the way it is. I've seen some of my friends who have grown up in the welfare system. And I remember when we were growing up, we was like, how come we don't get government cheese? Well, we don't get them part of it. My mother was like, because you are my children. And I will take care of you.
Right.
I remember when I first got on, the first time I ever got on public assistance, I had a baby and I couldn't get medical care. So I needed the health card. And they said, well, you got to take the food stamps and you got to take the welfare check and you got to take the, I said, I just want the medical card. No, you got to take it all. You just can't cherry pick it. So I said, okay. First time I got the welfare check, I was like, you cannot be serious. If that was not incentive, that was so much incentive. And I'm college educated. I only needed it for 3 months. And to watch people, the grandmother been on welfare, the daughter be on welfare, then the granddaughter be on welfare, then she started having 3 and 4 kids by 5 and 6 different daddies by the time she's 15 years old, and then she just, get a check.
Right.
Now, did they tell you that when you were?
That's always the solution in the African American community. And it's sad, but it's true.
I'm going to say this to me, and I grew up, I'm a baby boomer. The worst thing that ever happened to and for black people in this country is the welfare system.
Yeah, I would agree. I think sometimes they just get stagnant and they just stay on. They don't think that they can do better, or sometimes they just don't want better. And I'm not going to generalize and say everyone, but a lot of times it is that they just stay stuck in these programs don't help them. They allow them to hinder them. And so they don't reach for higher ground to get more. So it is definitely a cycle.
But there was something inside of you. First of all, you acknowledged that there was a cycle that you could see going.
Right.
And tell me about the cycle that you saw going that made you say, I'm getting off this train.
Because to live in poverty means you have to have a poverty mentality. And even though I was on government assistance and I was in that setting. I wanted more. I didn't want to stay in that setting. I didn't want my kids to be raised in a certain type of environment, because your environment has a huge influence on your life, for the better or even for the worse. And so it was just, I wanted more. I wanted to go to college and things and I told myself, just because me and my husband had our daughter at 16, that does not mean we can't do those things. And I think a lot of people think, well, I got this going on, so I can't. But you could do anything you want to, as long as you have the willpower and the motivation to do it.
And you got up to do it. And people will, and at 16, I couldn't understand. You stop and think about way back in the day, in biblical times, and even back in the early slave days, these women were having babies at 12, 13, soon as they having babies. They dropping babies in the field, and they just keep right on going. You don't let that stop you. The environment that you were around, and you said it yourself, your environment can have such a strong influence on you. Even with you joining the gangs, even with you getting involved, in sexual activity at a young age and having a baby at a young age, something inside that pretty head, something inside that pretty spirit said, this is not going to happen for me. I can't do it. What were the people around you saying about your rise, your ascension to greatness, to bettering your life, to bettering the lives of your children?
To be honest, everybody didn't like it. It went against the norm, and sometimes in the African American culture or community, it's more of a competition with people instead of pushing you out and saying, I'm happy for you. It's like the crab in the bucket mentality. I'm not doing anything with myself, so therefore I don't want you to do anything neither.
And then if you do something, well, why are you trying to one up me? Why are you trying to make me look bad? I'm not trying to make you look bad. Get your behind up and do. You could do the very same thing. You kept pushing, you kept pushing, you kept pushing. And there were cyclical things that were happening that could have just left you stagnant. Your children, your daughter, this is your oldest daughter, your first daughter.
Right.
And you see this little girl who is completely depending on you for everything. Even at 16, you saw the light go off.
Right.
And you knew. Now, you have other brothers and sisters?
I have 6 sisters.
So where do you fall in the line?
I'm the middle. I have 3 older, 3 younger.
Oh, so you like...
Right.
All girls?
All girls. I have a younger brother, stepbrother. He is 30. I'm 32.
Are you really?
Yeah.
You look good, girl.
Thank you.
You holding up real well. What's your back? I got shoes older than her. Oh, my God. I'm old enough to be your mother. I can say that. My son is in his... So now tell us about raising these children. You and your husband still married?
Yeah, we're still married. 15 years, Valentine's Day.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's got to be, and especially in this town, you meet somebody 15 minutes later, you marry, 16 minutes later, we divorced.
Right.
How do you guys work on your relationship to stay together?
It was hard because you think like this. We met when we were 13. We literally grew up together. The different transitions, the things he didn't like, the things I didn't like, and then watching this person go from what you know. Of course, he's not going to be the same person at 13, at 20, and then 25.
Ooh, let's hope not.
So watching the transition, it was definitely frustrating on both of our parts. But I think we both come from the same type of background in the same home, and we both wanted more for not just us, but for our children and as a family. And I think that's what made us stick together, and the fact that we're best friends. We're able to talk about anything. A lot of times in today's society, people tell people what they want to hear. And one thing I love about my husband, we will give each other the brutal honesty no matter what. And I think communication is the biggest thing in any relationship, whether it's a marriage,
don't think
friendship.
it, sweetie. Don't think it. Know it. I want you to know that. And you said something that so many people don't get about the longevity of a relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a marriage, whatever the case is. The communication.
Right.
When you can sit and talk about anything and about everything and be honest with it, and you know that you can come to that person and be as open and as raw, and you know that he is not going to misuse and abuse your feelings, that you can trust him with your heart to communicate. And that comes over time. That comes over growth. Because you'd be like, sometimes you'd be looking at my husband and I tell people this all the time. We just celebrated our 41st year together.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes I know he going to get into heaven. He is not going to have any problem getting in there. Me, I'm going to have some splaining to do. I know I'm happy. He'll be, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Come back here. St. Peter got some conversation for you. Wait a minute. You don't get to just walk through the pearly gates. And that's so important. And it's important for your children to see how a man treats a woman.
Right.
How a woman is supposed to be treated.
Right.
So now, do you guys share with your children, the hardships that you had coming
Definitely. I'm definitely open with my kids because I'm not really...
Do you tell them too much? I used to think that one of my relatives told their kids just way too much information.
I'm not one of those parents that have my kids in on adult conversations.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about?
Definitely. I understand what you're saying, where people talk to their kids like they're friends.
Right.
Not their kids. No, I don't do that, but I definitely let my kids see the realistic part of our lives, not just the glitz and the glamour, because I want them to understand that it was a struggle. I don't want them to think, well, you guys had us at 16, so it's okay. So I want them to see the balance of both the negative and the positive so they can make better decisions than we've made.
What do you say to your 16-year-old daughter? Who, because you know how teenagers are, they'll throw it right up in your face. Well, you had a baby at 16. Okay, yeah, I did. And what you think you getting ready to do?
Right.
What do you say to her?
Basically, I tell her the truth. I tell her, we talk about her in relationships, and I'm just honest with my daughter. I tell her, even though I had her, because I don't want her to think she's a mistake, because she's a blessing.
There are no mistakes.
Definitely. But I do want her to know the sacrifices that I had to, give up, and the different things I had to give up to have her so young, and that I want her to wait to enjoy life. Not to say that I didn't enjoy life, but I didn't get to enjoy all the things that I should have enjoyed.
Your childhood, your teenage years. You had to become an adult as a teenager and a wife and a mother and take on that responsibility.
Right.
Look, I was good and grown. Hadn't been living with my mother for years, and I was like, oh, what am I do with this baby? There's no instructions, there's no directions.
Right.
Oh, Lord, I had a good job, I had a good education, I had a good man. I was like, we done lost our mind. We have went crazy. I'm not responsible for me. How am I going to be responsible for another human being?
Right.
Kids will make you grow up.
Yeah, they will.
They will make you grow up. Tell me how it changed you from being that girl teenager to that woman teenager, because technically you got to be a teenager from 13 to 16.
Right.
Then you became mommy.
Right.
Then you became wife. And you're still doing it. Do you think you missed out on anything?
Yeah, I think I missed out on a lot. It wasn't until I was maybe 25 that I realized that I didn't have an identity, and I think women get lost in that so many times. I was just mother and wife. I didn't really know who Saniyyah was, and at 25, I'm like, I want to pursue my dreams and my goals, and that's when I went back to school. But I got lost in the whole identity of being just a mom or a wife. I really didn't get to enjoy me, and so now
and get to know who you were.
Definitely. So at 25, it was just like an aha moment for me. Like, okay, what do you like? I didn't even know what I like to do. It was just church, home, kids, husband, that was it.
That's it.
And so I really didn't have a social life or a life outside of my husband and my kids, and I had to relearn that and relearn me all over again.
Now, actually, you are learning you from the beginning.
Because now I'm a new person.
You're just going through the motions. You're just doing I'm somebody's wife, I'm somebody's mother, let me take care of the house, let's go to church, let's get the kids together, okay, let me do hair, let me do the laundry.
Right.
You're doing I call it wifing. And here you are as a young woman. But you got off when you got off the cycle of abuse, because I've read the book and all the trauma, the emotional trauma, the verbal, abuse, and all the naysayers around you, and you just kept on going. You just kept on trucking, got your babies, and just kept on moving. When you look back at it and you turn around, what would you do different if you would do anything differently?
What would I do different? When I first started, when the naysayers were saying all the things that they were saying, I first started out to prove them wrong. And over time, it wasn't about them. It was about bettering myself. If I can go back and change that, I wouldn't have worried about what people said from the beginning, and I would have just did it for me from the start.
See, that's breaking the cycle right now. Tell us about... Oh, we got to take a break. We just zippity-doo done. In the studio with me is Saniyyah Mayo. This is her first book.
Yes.
It's called Identifying and Breaking the Cycle. Our friendships, family ties, and romantic connections give meaning and joy to our lives, but such relationships often assume negative patterns of behavior that can induce long-term harm. In the worst cases, these patterns develop into recurring cycles that stretch over life lifetimes and even spill out into the next generation where they are repeated again. Breaking the Cycle gives hope to individuals and families affected by such patterns. I have her live in the studio with me. You can give us a call if you'd like to talk to Miss Saniyyah Mayo. Our number is 323-203-0815. Again, that's 323-203-0815. When we come back, I want to talk to you about what made you sit down and want to put it in a book. We'll be back after these messages.
Lifestyles. I'm Bobby Owens. Type 2 diabetes is more likely to affect minority populations, including African Americans and Latinos. Mother Love, TV personality and author, has type 2 diabetes and knows firsthand how to deal with it.
To manage diabetes successfully, you must keep a positive attitude and build a strong support team. Make sure you monitor your blood glucose levels often, exercise daily, eat well, and stay informed.
Mother Love says a healthy and balanced diet is very important.
You don't have to skip out on the barbecues, but you do need to watch what you eat. Choose healthy and fresh foods like seasonal fruits and vegetables, lean proteins, and always practice portion control. For snacks, try Glucerna nutrition products. The great-tasting shakes, snack bars, and cereals are formulated to minimize blood sugar spikes when used as a part of a diabetes management plan.
Use Glucerna products under medical supervision. For more information, visit Glucerna.com. That's Lifestyles from the makers of Glucerna. I'm Bobby Owens.
Attention, parents and grandparents. Help your children be successful in mathematics. Help guarantee your child's success in math by playing Math Maze, a new card game that helps make a positive change in how your child views their ability to learn and use math. Order yours today. Call 310-697-3177 or go to mathmaze.us. Do it now. Mathmaze.us.
Be big fun for you and everyone. Play it each and every day. Master math the easy way.
Allstate would like you to meet Mike and Jamie Erickson.
Yeah, when I retire 18, 20 years from now, I'm going to have kids in college. It's scary because the question is, have we saved enough to be able to afford a comfortable retirement and see the kids through college and also through, their later years in life?
Mike's going to be 51 next year. Jamie will be 44, and their youngest will be 4.
The reality is that we've got a lot of money that we're going to have to pay out over the rest of our lives, but it's the long-term retirement for Jamie and I that I worry about. I think we're going to be able to have enough money to raise our kids, but beyond that is a concern.
For Mike and Jamie, and thousands with stories like theirs, there's Allstate Retirement. It's free one-on-one help planning for the third half of your life. Whatever you have, wherever you are, Allstate can work with that.
Start the conversation today with Altadena, California Allstate agent Wilbert Smith Insurance Services. Call 626-791-7636. Allstate Indemnity Company, Northbrook, Illinois.
You are listening to the most original talk radio station anywhere. We are LA Talk Radio at latalkradio.com.
You're listening to The Mother Love Show, right here on LA Talk Radio.
And we'll have you on that show too. Hello, and we are back. In studio with me is the very lovely Saniyyah Mayo. She's a first-time author. She's a mother. She's a wife. 3 beautiful children. A wonderful. What's your husband's name?
Demetrius.
I knew that. I was okay. Wait a minute. There's one of your kids' name I can't pronounce, and you got to pronounce this for me. Wait a minute. Okay. You got Demetrius Jr., Demetriana,
and Desire.
Okay, I couldn't. That's the one I couldn't get. Wait a minute. Okay, so now who is Demetrius the third?
That's my son.
And who is Demetrius Jr.?
My husband.
Oh, okay. Oh, because it says, my husband and 3 children. Demetrius Jr., Demetriana. Everybody got the same initials except for you.
Yeah.
That was all right, though. That was all right. So now, what made you sit down, Saniyyah, and say, I need to put this in a book?
I just wanted to help other people, and that's why a lot of the book is actually my life, but I wrote it in a way that you wouldn't know who the people were, because it wasn't about bashing. It wasn't that I was bitter. It wasn't none of that. I just wanted to educate other people that may be in the same situation to help them get out of the cycle that they're currently in.
What do you see, what are some of our biggest obstacles in being on this seemingly train going to nowhere in our community. You know, when you see so much hopelessness. And so I remember when I was talking to a young lady, about 15 or 16 years old. I was in one of the high schools, and I was talking to them, and I was asking, you know, so what do you want to be when you grow up? Tell me about your aspirations. And I get to this one, and I always go to the quiet ones, the ones that, you know, seem to be locked up that nobody wants to pay attention to.
Right.
So I went over to her, and I said to her, getting her engaged in the conversation, so what do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? She said, oh, Mother Love, I'm not concerned about growing up. She said, the biggest thing I'm doing now is making sure my mom and them don't have to pass the hat if I become a murderer. Every time I think about it, it just breaks my heart. If I get killed. She's 16 years old, and she's planning her funeral. 16-year-olds are supposed to be planning a birthday party. I literally had to leave the room. You know, when you see that much despair, what made you wanted to go out there and say, no, this is it. This is not acceptable. I mean, what made you pick up that gauntlet? You know, you just say, oh, just to help people. I mean, you've been through a fresh kind of hell, and you said, no, I don't want other people to do that.
Because I know how it feels to be on the other side of it. Mm-hmm. And because I know how it feels, I wouldn't want anybody else to experience that same pain. And if you can help somebody, why not? And that's the problem with our community, that we don't reach back to help other people. When we better ourselves, we forget about where we came from.
Like somebody didn't help you. We have someone calling in. Hi, you're on with Mother Love and Saniyyah. Who's this and where are you calling from? Hello? Hello? Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bad, you lost your turn. See, don't be messing with me. Don't be messing. So now, what did your kids and your husband think when you said, I'm going to write a book? And did you always know you wanted to write a book?
I always was a writer. From the time I was a kid, I used to write short stories, and that was kind of like my coping mechanism. I would write to, however I felt, I would write poems and different things like that. So when I told my husband I was going to write a book, he wasn't surprised. He was more of like, about time.
About time you got up and wrote something about that. So now, because when I was reading it, because those stories are so personal, I could tell that they were coming from your heart. And that's coming from the writer in me. I could tell that they were coming from your heart. But I like the way that you fashioned the stories, that they could be anybody.
Right.
Because, and there's so many, see, I'm the helper.
Oh, okay.
I'm the helper, you know, and let's talk about how you broke this down and the way that you did it, because you write about the characteristics and people that get stuck and get on that cycle and don't know how to get off. And many of us we're helpers, or we got that one aunt. She was my favorite aunt. I mean, she still is, you know, even though we fell out. She would not call me by my name. I was always a B with a cap. I was a witch with a capital B. And that's how she addressed me. And I was like, I have a name, Auntie. Right. Oh, who you think you are? I'll call you as many of them as I think I want to. I'm your elder. I said, I tell you what, you can call me Mrs. Mary. You can call me Mother Love. You can call me by my name. You call me one more, and that's it. I'm done. I'll call you as many. Didn't speak to her for 3 years. And she could not understand. It didn't dawn on her that she was doing. And I said to her, you don't have to speak to me this way. We don't have to have this kind of conversation. Right. And, you know, when you broke down in the book, it's always one of them folk in the family, or 2 or 3 of them, that feel like they can talk. Co-workers do the same thing.
Right.
Feel like you get comfortable with them. They can say all kind of off-color jokes to you.
Right.
They could talk about black people, gay people. They could talk about other people's religion. And you're just supposed to sit there and say something. But you spoke up.
Yeah, I'm definitely the person where I'm very direct, which can rub people this wrong way sometimes.
Let's have a moment for them. Moment's over. Okay, go ahead.
I just really feel that, because for a long time I wouldn't say how I felt, and I would just afterwards be like, man, I wish I should have said this. I could have said this. And then I'm like, no, now I'm just going to straight out say it. And then I think I just got to the point where I put my boundaries in place. You're not going to just do whatever to me and think it's okay, because I'm a person just like you. And just like you wouldn't like it done to you, I don't like it done to me. So I had to speak up. And plus my daughter was watching me, and I kept telling her, you know, you have to speak up. I'm not going to always be there. But I was telling her that, but I wasn't showing her that. And it dawned on me when I watched her, like, she's watching me.
Everything you do.
Right. And to want her to stand up for herself, I need to find my voice again and speak up because I lost my voice.
You know, I don't think you really lost your voice. I think you were afraid to be heard.
Right.
I think you were afraid of the ridicule. People like, well, who does she think she is speaking up? When that fire was burning in your belly so deep and you're like, I got something to say. I need to say it. But you had been conditioned, as we are as children, especially in our culture, children should be seen and not heard.
Right.
You don't get involved in grown folks' conversations. But grown folks can say grown folks stuff to you, but you're not supposed to respond back because you better stay in a child's place. You didn't get to be a child for very long. You had to go from, you like skip. I always tell people I skipped over ladyhood. I went from girl to woman. And you went from girl to woman. You really didn't get the opportunity to become a lady until now, because now you hear your voice.
Right.
Now you hear how you sound. Now you're able to visualize and realize your dreams. So tell me what it was like where you're sitting there and you're writing this book and you're doing, how long did it take you to write the book first?
Actually, I started a book and I lost it. And so
how you lose the book?
I don't know. Like everybody that I emailed the book to, because of why I write, I emailed, to get different people's opinions, and they couldn't find the book, and the book wasn't on my laptop. But this is just how good God is. This book turned out to be something completely different, and it was so much better. And so,
wait a minute, you completely different from the book that you lost?
Yes.
Okay, so now tell me about that.
Well, the book that I lost, now I'm writing a screenplay. Because I actually want to turn it into a movie.
Okay.
But it was identifying and breaking the cycle. But it was basically it was in a character form, showing how it plays out over time through childhood, through adults. So now I just figured, okay, so now I'm working on that as a screenplay. Okay. So we'll see how that goes.
So it's not lost.
No.
So now how long did it take you to actually sit down and write this one?
It took me 2.5 years. I started before grad school and I finished during grad school. And so there was times where I would write every day, and there was times where I wouldn't write for a month or two. And so it just sometimes it just comes, and sometimes it's not.
That's
there.
how it is.
Yeah.
Now where'd you go to grad school?
Azusa Pacific University.
What's your degree in?
Clinical psychology. I'm actually a marriage and family therapist intern working towards my hours for licensure.
Well,
so I'm in private practice.
Girl, thank you. Thank you. I don't have to do it. Saniyyah Mayo is there. She's coming, people. She's coming. Just give her a minute. Because we need it so desperately, and especially in our community. And see, you know what? I'm going to tell you something. Spirit just told me this just right now. He said, this is one of the daughters I've been setting up. Yeah, she thinks she had a baby at 16. It was a reason for it, because I knew we were going to need her later. She didn't know, but I knew we were going to need her later, because this way they can't come in with that BS. They can't come in with that half-stepping. They can't come in and say to their therapist, oh, well, you don't really understand. Back it up. Shut it down.
Right.
Shut it down. Okay, they're calling back. Hello, you're on with Mother Love and Saniyyah Mayo. Who's this and where you calling from?
Celise, I'm calling from Victorville, California.
Hi, Celise. What would you like to ask Saniyyah?
I would like to ask her, when you finally spoke up and used your voice, like, how did you feel about it? Because I tell my husband all the time, I feel like I don't have a voice. I can't say how I feel to other people.
When I first spoke up and said how I felt great. And it's not about what you say, it's how you say it. I think when it's done in respect and it's not disrespectful, but you're saying how you feel and it's coming from the heart, I think people are better to receive it. And if they don't receive it, there's nothing you can really do about it. Just be peaceful and feel good that you did stand up for yourself.
Now let me ask you this, sweetie pie. Why do you feel like you don't have a voice?
It's very selfish. Because I feel like I could say a lot to my siblings, anybody around me, but it's just hard. I don't want them to get their feelings hurt off of nothing that I say.
Then just like she said, say it in a loving manner. You're not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. And it's important that you know that you have a voice and that you're important enough to be heard, that your feelings are important enough. And the only reason why people are treating you that way, sweetie pie, is because you're letting them. She said something earlier, set up the boundaries. You got to put up boundaries, and you don't allow people to just talk to you in a kind of way. She got babies everywhere. You got baby. Go back to the babies. I can't hear a word she said now. The baby, you know, isn't it something? As soon as you get on the phone, the kids come get right in your face. She was probably walking around the house waiting for me to answer the phone. As soon as she get on the phone, everybody in my mama, we want them to.
Right.
So now, how are you? Has it been an adjustment for you now at this point in your life where you're going? I mean, you're getting ready to be a marriage and family counselor. You're getting ready to help people in the most intimate parts of their relationships, to help them, save them, to keep them strong. And I'm so glad. When will you be done with your internship? When will you be licensed? Because I got some people I need to send to you like yesterday.
Actually, I'm in private practice now, so I still take clients out of San Dimas, but I should have my hours finished within the next year and a half. So, but I'm still in private practice, so I do still see clients.
So now how do people, how do they contact you?
They can contact me through my website, which is breakingthecyclebook.com, or on Psychology Today, and just put my name in and I'll come up. Okay,
so now what are some of the issues that our married people are dealing with? I mean, because it's pretty much probably all the same things: sex, money, kids, property, stuff, in-laws.
A big issue that most married people that come in deal with is finances. Finances because money can make or break your marriage, but only if you allow it. Only if you allow it. If your money is based on financial gain, then your marriage is not going to last anyways. Because whether you're broke or poor, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't change the dynamics of the relationship with your spouse.
What do the marriage vows say? For richer or for poor?
Right.
For better or for worse? Just because you all want to start making up stuff for the marriage vows, well, we'll take that out and we'll leave this in. Right. I tell people all the time, marriage is an institution. Right. Institution. Not to be entered into lightly. You don't go into the mental institution and expect to have a bunch of sane people there. So you got to understand what the institution is. Right. You need to know what that is. Oh, girl, you popular today. Hi, you're on with Saniyyah and Mother Love. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hi, my name is Portia, and I'm calling from San Bernardino, California.
And what would you like to ask?
How today?
We're doing fine. How are you?
I'm fine.
Then what would
my question is, what advice do you give single mothers who don't have the privilege of seeing their children grow up in a two-parent home? What do you feel like they should do to show their children that, because they, like you said, I heard you say before something about if you let your children see, that about a relationship. What I'm asking is, how do you suggest that a single mother show their children about being in a relationship who don't have that privilege of being in a relationship?
Well, I'll take this one, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
When you're a single parent and your kids are coming up, and if you're not involved with their father, or if you've got multiple fathers, that are coming through the house with the kids, then it's your responsibility to set up the guidelines and the boundaries. You don't just let them walk in and out of your house anytime they feel like it. They show up, when you got money and then they disappear. You've got to be the one to set the boundaries. You've got to be the responsible person, and you've got to surround them with smart, with viable people that can be in your life. My father died when I was 9 years old, and so my mother never ever remarried. So she raised us as the unremarried widow of, that was her title. And so, but what she did with my two brothers and us as well is the men that she surrounded us with, my uncles, my grandfathers, her male friends. She surrounded us with positive male role models so we would know what men look like. She had friends who were married, so we knew what a marriage was supposed to look like, at least on the outside. We knew that a man was supposed to open up a door for a lady. We knew that a man was supposed to pull out a chair for a lady. We knew that a lady was not supposed to be talking all loud and wild and vulgar. Okay, that was one I missed out. I was absent that day about the loud, wild, and vulgar day. But you have to surround yourself and your children with people who you want them to emulate. If you want them to emulate drug dealers and thugs and criminals, and that's who your you're around, that's who they're going to emulate. Children are like sponges. They will suck up whatever you show them. So as the parent, and unfortunately, well, it's not unfortunate because sometimes you got to be a single parent. You got to take up the gauntlet. You have to be the one to set the rules, and you have got to set the boundaries. What do you think, Saniyyah?
I definitely agree with you.
Mm-hmm. I hope that helps.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Happy New Year, my dear. So now have your kids read the book? Has your husband read it? I know your husband read it.
Yeah, my daughter, she actually doesn't like to read, and she read it, and she actually liked it. But I wanted them to read it because I wanted them to get a better concept of me, even though they know me. Mm-hmm. I tell them different stories, but to actually see it in that form, I think it kind of gave them light to what was really going on in my childhood and different things. So, yeah, I definitely wanted them to read
I'll
it.
bet they go, my mom is so remarkable. You know, because I'm sitting here looking at you and feeling your vibe and your energy, and you are a warrior queen. I put that on you. You are seriously a warrior. You're not a warrior princess. You are a warrior queen. You are running things. And I think that is amazing. Somebody else want to talk to you. Hi, you're on with Mother Love and Saniyyah Mayo. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Yes, this is James from Detroit. I got a question. I've been married, just got a recent divorce for 2 years. I started dating, and I got a 12-year-old daughter, which her and my girlfriend is not really seeing eye to eye. And we were trying to take it to the next step and have her move in, but I don't know if that's a good move. How would I go about getting them to build a better relationship?
You want to go?
I'll take it. First of all, before you introduce your kids to any male or female, I think you should already know, is this the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with? And you also need to get your kids' input. Sometimes teenagers, they may manipulate the situation because they don't want you to see you with anyone, but also your kids are people just like you, and they have a voice and they should be heard. How does this person interact with them? Don't just move in so quickly. You want to have your kids kind of mesh with this person and make sure that it will be a good dynamics, not just with you and the lady, but with your children and her as well. Because if your daughter's a teenager, this is a woman that's going to be in her life and be an example to her. So you might want to consider how their relationship is going. I don't think you should just totally dismiss the relationship, but you definitely need your kids' input about the relationship. What would you say, Mother Love?
I would say that very same thing. Get to know that person. You're just coming, when you think about it, you're still fresh off of a divorce. How long were you married?
6 years.
You were married for 6 years. So, and you've been divorced for 2 years. Give yourself some time. Don't be so willing to, I mean, sometimes if it's right, it's right. Mm-hmm. And then when it's right, it can wait. When love is right, patience is the beautiful thing about a relationship. You will know that it's right. And you also have to make sure that your daughter knows that she is a priority. She is a top priority. Mm-hmm. So you have to make sure that she knows that you're not trying to replace her mother. You're not trying to push her aside. It's a really delicate balancing act. And when it's a father and his daughter, the first thing kids want is their parents to be together. They don't understand why mom and dad are not married anymore. And you got to try to understand so that they can stay whole. Take your time, baby. Pace yourself. If you believe that this is the right woman for you, who is going to nurture your daughter, and you don't want her to think that her mother's being replaced. You want her to think that she's getting like another person to help co-parent her. That's another. And then you got to watch them because them two could team up on you, and they'll be like, "Go ask your daddy, girl, can you have so and so?" And you be like, "Wait a minute, what happened to the animosity? They done all got together. They all going to lunch together, and you could be a happy man." I hope that helps.
Yeah, that's helped me. Where will I purchase the book at?
BreakingTheCycleBook.com, or you can get it on Amazon if you have an Android phone.
I don't even.
Okay, thank you. Y'all have a good evening.
You too. Thank you so much for participating. I heard about the Android and the iPhone, and I can't keep up with it. I just found my cell phone just yesterday in my junk drawer, and I was like, "Ooh," and it still got stuff on it. I just don't do it. So now, besides you getting you're taking clients in your marriage and family counseling. Now, do you counsel children with the families? Do you, when you're doing family counseling?
I do couples, I do individuals, I do teenagers, kids, I do it all.
Go on with your bad stuff. Like I said, it's a good thing you pretty, because you got to be in here and be in the trenches, you know. And I could see people coming to you, and you have such a peaceful spirit. What's coming up next for you? When's the next book coming out, or the screenplay?
Well, I'm working on the screenplay right now, basically trying to get identifying and breaking the cycle out there. So I'm kind of focused on marketing that. And what's next? I don't know. Wherever God leads me, the possibilities are limitless.
Oh, absolutely. So you just know that whatever you're doing, whatever you're sharing, whatever service that you have, you are always welcome here at the Mother Love Show to come and talk about what you do. We need more people like you. And I just want to thank you and thank God for giving you the vision to want to do this. Ladies and gentlemen, Saniyyah Mayo. May the universe continue to open up and conspire for your great success.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Oh, girl, we'll have you back. What you talking about? Babies, you know I love you, and there's not a ding-dang doggone thing any one of you can do about the mother loving you. Peace, babies.
Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You are listening to LA Talk Radio. We say what we want.